Alright guys, it's Dokkan time again, and today we're going to do a how to build video, but for multitudes of characters, but all by the same name. And for this one, it's going to be for TOWA. Yes, TOWA. I'm sure Chucky will very much appreciate this, Chucky. So this one's for you, bud. So we got 4 TOWAs in the game as of current. 3 of them are heroes. One of them is just a crossover. One brand new one right here, the Extreme STR. We also got the Extreme Intelligence one that just freshly Easy Aid. Then, of course, we have the Easy Aid AGL TOA right here. The Darkness TOA, the Demon Goddess TOA, and then we have the Xenoverse TOA, as I will call her, the Tech TOA. Now, the only ones that are probably going to be usable in majority of content is probably going to be the Intelligence one and then the AGL one. The AGL one's a little bit... okay, hold up. I have obviously made a miscalculation here. Why does TOA not have the sticker? TOA deserves that sticker no matter what, even if it was a bad sticker, which it's not. It's actually a pretty nice sticker in all honesty. But anyways, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over how to build these 4 units specifically. One thing to keep in mind though is this unit, this TOA right here, has not Easy Aid yet. I am building up some of my own copies to rework her. So just because of what I have her right now on my own personal game doesn't mean that's how you should build her. But let's just kind of go over how we're going to do this here. All right, so the first one we're going to start off with is the STR TOA specifically. Now, as you can see down here in the middle of the screen, I have defense equips right there, and I got the HP equips. Now, these are optional choices that you can go ahead and tag onto the bronze equip of TOAs. So the HP specifically, why people would put HP on TOA, is mostly because most of the TOAs in the game are not going to be able to take a hit. And you're just going to want to like increase the HP because traditionally there's no LRs for heroes units. So usually the heroes teams or crossover teams are pretty much lacking on the HP threshold there. And actually giving just, if you gave every single one of your heroes units on the team you use regularly, like a 600 or even a 500 HP orb, that would add up to enough to be calculated to go over the 600k threshold and be actually sitting kind of comfortably to almost a normal degree. Yeah, it's unfortunate that we have to like, balance things out. But it's just, it is what it is, we just don't have much of a choice, unfortunately. But so pretty much what you're gonna want to do, like, let's just be real here. You really want to go pretty much you want to go full dodge. Full dodge is the primary build you want to go for when it comes down to these units. I would either go ahead, just go for the HP, or you could very well go for defense orbs on her. But there's no reason to put attack orbs on her. Though I will say this, personally, I actually do give this TOA right here, this STR one specifically, I give her a little bit of crit. Personally speaking. So we go over her attack. Her super attack is greatly raising attack. Okay, that's a 50% increase. She has attack and defense 150, additional attack and defense 100% performing a super attack, medium chance of evading, which is only 30%, but she has to be in the second or third slot. She has all allies attack and defense plus 20% when there are 3 or more extreme class allies on the team, which is just pretty good. I mean, it's only 20%, whereas the rest of the other TOAs all raised by 40. But plus an additional attack and defense 50% when performing a super, and all allies keep +1 attack and defense 10%, and changes AGL key spheres when all allies are Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball Heroes unit. So that's an interesting like chunk of a passive, I'm not gonna lie. So she actually is supporting by 30% when you take this into consideration. Um, but you have to realize that's a restriction to heroes only. So unless she's on a full heroes team, you're not getting the extra 10% there or the extra defense here. Um, so that's something to definitely keep in mind about that. If we go over to actually Halvard's calculations right here, uh, Toa's not too bad actually. If she just supers, I mean, with 40% support, she can hit almost 600k defense, and even if she's not having a 40% support, she's got 500k defense. That's not too bad, in all honesty. For a unit that is purely just support, that's actually that's pretty crazy. Not gonna lie, that's pretty crazy that she actually would have that. Now, the reason why I didn't give her additional is because she doesn't gain any defense on super. As a supportive unit, I just put her full dodge, 100% dodge, and then whatever nodes I don't have a choice but to choose a crit or additional, I'll put into crit. But yeah, and now let's go ahead and move on to the next TOA. So this TOA, once again, it's kind of the same thing. You know, she doesn't raise defense on super. She just normal raises attack. She does lower attack of the enemy and does seal. So that is something to keep in mind. You could actually give her additional in the instances of where you can lower the enemy's attack and go ahead and go for additional. That is definitely something you can do with this TOA and a couple of the TOAs actually. Um, because lowering attack is a common trait that you can do even in the hard red zone difficulty stages. You can sometimes lower their attack on the very first stage or even stun perhaps. That is definitely also a thing. I believe what is it, the red zone Omega Shenron or Sin Shenron, you can actually lower his attack. You can lower the attack of the Metal Cooler army as well in the first phase. So instances like that, you can definitely take advantage of the lowering attack and go ahead and give them additional for whatever's remaining. But just like the rest of these TOAs, you're pretty much going to go full dodge. She has all allies support, of course, defense plus 40. All allies support, Sensu Bean effect. She has built-in dodge as well, as long as your HP is 50% or more. But there's nothing in here to support additionaling. It's you want to dodge. You want to dodge or die. In some instances. I wonder if does Halvard have I actually have a bookmark list for Halvard. Let's see if we can find. Yeah, here we are. So we do got some calculations here for her. Fully built up after she's dodged, she's got above 50% HP. If she gets another 40% support, this TOA after Easy Ink can hit 800k defense. That's pretty nuts. That's pretty nuts. I'm not gonna lie. 800k defense for a supportive unit is really good. Really good. Like that's really good. But yeah, it's definitely still a dodge based unit, but I would probably suggest putting in the additional as well after you've run out of dodge uh hidden potential spots so that you can capitalize potentially on the lowers attack. So, let's move on to the next TOA, which will be this AGL TOA. It's going to be the same exact build. She's got greatly lowers attack and defense, which is very nice, because that's a that's only a 30% lowering. You would think it was 50. You would think it was 50. Um, but unfortunately, the normal lower is only 20%, and then the greatly lower is 30%. So, but I think it might be only 30% right now because it's greatly lowering attack and defense. I think it might be higher. Don't quote me on that. I think it might be higher if it was just greatly lowering attack, but don't quote me on that. Anyways, attack and defense 100, attack and defense 100 when there's a super enemy, defense plus 80 when there's an extreme enemy. Extreme class allies keep plus 3 attack and defense plus 40. And then she also has a Sensu Bean effect when your HP is 30% or less. And then all allies get an additional attack and defense plus 60%. So I'm not going to really I'm not gonna look up her calculations because her calculations are so low. Like I promise you, um, she's probably sitting at like 200k defense, like 200, 300k at the most. This Toa is one of those units where literally it's dodge or die for very difficult content, but it doesn't mean that she's doomed, you know? As I said, she does greatly lower attack and defense, so in those instances, perhaps she'll be okay. Um, I swear she had, yeah, Battle Diva. If you by chance have her running with another Toa, that Battle Diva will give an extra dodge option. But yep, same exact hidden potential, a suggestion right there. Dodge, potentially defense orb, but the defense orbs won't do as much for her. So maybe I'll just click those off. I don't know if the defense orbs will go very far for this Toa specifically. But if we move on to the last Toa, which keep in mind this one still needs to easy A. She did just get her awakening in 2021. I think it's entirely possible with all the other Xenoverse characters that have come out. I mean, what other Xenoverse characters? Not a lot. We just got this Trunks right here. This guy's awakened. This guy's easy aid. Actually, they're the same one, and they've already easy aid. I think the only two that haven't gotten an easy A yet is this Trunks right here, and then this Trunks right here. Yeah. So I think the day that we see an announcement of any type of Xenoverse content, I mean, honestly, they could probably give her easy A at any time. I wouldn't be surprised if this girl got an easy A during like next hero celebration or something, or it's just a random edition one day that could happen. Um, but anyways, she doesn't do much. She does support allies by 5% per extreme class enemy, so you have to run her on a extreme team. But it'll add up to 30% increase. All allies keep +3. She does seal, so that is something to keep in mind. And attack and defense +100% when all allies are extreme class. So for this one, assuming that the easy A one day will eventually give her greatly lowering attack or perhaps defense on super, I would suggest going for additional as well. But full dodge unit, full dodge unit. And that's pretty much going to be the theme here of TOAs. Dodge, dodge, dodge. But in all honesty, these ones, they're aged a little bit. You could still potentially find use for this Toa. This one's aged out a little too much. I'm sure we'll eventually get an easy A, but these two are actually pretty decent, and I would highly suggest trying to use them on some heroes teams, especially this Toa. This is the best Toa in the game right now. So, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it helps you out. So I hope you have a good day, a good night.